Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Shata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Samstapaka Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya नारञ्चैव नरोत्तमम् देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy, texts 27 and 28. 28 is on the board. So first I'll read text 27, then we'll read text 28 together. The translation is one for both of them. It's a combined translation. Athābhipretam anvīkṣya brahmaṇo madhusūdanaḥ viṣaṇṇa-cetasaṁ tena kalpa-vyatikarāmbhasā loka-saṁsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ tam āhāgādhayā vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva loka-saṁsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ tam āhāgādhayā vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva loka-saṁsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ tam āhāgādhayā vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva loka-saṁsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ tam āhāgādhayā vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva. Samsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva vijñānam Ladies, loka-saṁsthāna-vijñāna ātmanaḥ parikhidyataḥ kam agādhayā vācā kaśmalaṁ śamayann iva atha thereupon abhipretam, intention, anvīkṣya, observing, brahmaṇaḥ, of Brahmā, madhusūdanaḥ, the killer of the Madhu demon, viṣaṇṇa, depressed, cetasam, of the heart, tena, by him, kalpa, millennium, vyatikara-ambhasā, devastating water, loka-saṁsthāna, situation of the planetary system, vijñāne, in the science, ātmanaḥ, of himself, parikhidyataḥ, sufficiently anxious, tam, unto him, aha, said, agādhayā, deeply thoughtful, vācā, by words, kaśmalaṁ, impurities, śamayann, removing, iva, like that. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Lord saw that Brahma was very anxious about the planning and construction of the different planetary systems and was depressed upon seeing the devastating water. He could understand the intention of Brahma, and thus he spoke in deep, thoughtful words, removing all the illusion that had arisen. Purport. The devastating water was so fearful that even Brahma was perturbed at its appearance and became very anxious about how to situate the different planetary systems in outer space to accommodate the different kinds of living entities, such as the human beings, those lower than the human beings, and the superhuman beings. All the planets in the universe are situated according to the different grades of living entities under the influence of the modes of nature, of material nature. There are 3 modes of material nature, and when they are mixed with one another, they become 9. When the 9 are mixed, they become 81, and the 81 also becomes mixed, and thus we ultimately do not know how the delusion increases and increases. Lord Brahma had to accommodate different places and situations for the requisite bodies of the conditioned souls. The task was meant only for Brahma, and no one in the universe can even understand how difficult it was. But by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to execute the tremendous task so perfectly that everyone is amazed to see the workmanship of the Vidhata, or the regulator. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3, Chapter 9, in the matter of Brahma's prayers for creative energy, texts 27 and 28. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitha Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagaragramatharine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Gopi Paranadana Dase Itinamine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpattarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patithanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vācālam bhangum langāyate girim yatkripatamaham bande Shri Gurudinatharinam yatkripatamaham bande Paramanandamadamam Shri Caitanya Ishwaram Katanchana smrte yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite vipritam syat Shri Caitanyam namamitam. So here in this purport, Srila Prabhupada gives us a glimpse into the complexity of this material world and the complexity that Brahma had to deal with as the secondary creator. What is that complexity? All the planets in the universe are situated according to the different grades of living entity under the influence of the modes of material nature. So you have three modes of material nature, which is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. If you 3 times 3, if you mix them, you take sattva, rajas, tamas, sattva, rajas, tamas. If you mix them, you get 3 times 3, 9. 9 types of combinations. Then you take that 9 and again 9 of the same type. Then you mix that 9, you get 9 times 9, 81. So then you have 81 types of combination of the 3. Then again if you mix them. So this way you can go on unlimitedly. And so the kind of living entities in this world have unlimited kinds of, not that each of them have unlimited, because there are unlimited living entities situated in the different planetary system. So there is an unlimited combination of the 3 modes. So that's why it becomes very, very complex. We heard a few days ago on Ekadashi, Srila Prabhupada's lecture, where he mentioned that everything in this material world is anartha. Anartha means that which is not required. So the spirit soul doesn't require this world, doesn't require the objects of this world. The living entity has this atma, the spirit soul, the pure servant of Krishna, has got no connection with this material world. But so the moment we think that we have a connection, or we need the material world, or we need the material energy, it is called anartha. So now I'll tell you something which you need to hear carefully to understand it. Those of you who have studied science, physics, would know that quantum physics is very strange. Strange in the sense that it is depicted with, of course there are many aspects to it, but I'll just give you a very simple example to understand. One of the famous quantum physicists was Schrödinger, Erwin Schrödinger. So he said there is something called the cat paradox. The cat paradox is that there is a cat in the box, sealed box. So when you don't observe that cat, in the box, the cat is neither alive nor dead. None of us know what this means. Anyway, this is a actual theory that the cat is neither dead nor alive. But when we observe, the very act of observation causes the cat to either become alive or dead. So when we observe, the cat becomes either alive or the cat becomes dead. This is called the Schrodinger's cat. Now why do I bring this here? So material nature, depending on how we look at it, can either be garbage or it can be transcendental. First of all, we don't need the material energy. That we need to be very clear about. The moment we think that we need the material energy, it's called anartha. Now, the material energy itself, the way we look at material energy can turn it either into garbage or into something useful. That's why I gave the example of the Schrodinger's cat. Because it is the observation. Of course, I'm not saying I believe that theory. All that I'm saying is that that material nature is, as Prabhupada gives the example of electricity, it is neither good nor bad. It depends on how you use it. So material nature by itself is not bad. It is not needed. That much we should know. That it's not needed. The moment we think it's needed, it's called anartha. But material nature by itself is not bad. It's Krishna's energy. But we can turn it into garbage or turn it into something transcendental by the way we look at it. Okay. Now, the only people who can turn material energy into something useful are the pure devotees. The people in this material world have turned into the whole material world into a whole garbage pile. They've just like Prabhupada says that there are so many literatures which are written. The first canto, when Narada Muni appears to Vyasadeva, all these vayasam tirtham. It's very, very interestingly. Actually, today when I was coming with my second son Achyuta, so he said, "Dad, there's a new bird here." So Sukhechita Prabhu also was coming there, and then I said, "What new bird?" So I looked. I said, "A crow." My son has never seen a crow, So, and crow is a very, very common creature. So which Prabhupada, in fact, Narada Muni himself talks about vayasam tirtham, which means crows. What do? They're very fond of garbage. So they go and pick garbage. So everything in this material world, the way it is, the way people have utilized the material world from time immemorial, except the pure devotees, they've turned it into a garbage pile. That's all. And there are three types of garbage in it: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of... Of course, by themselves they're not garbage, but they have created combinations of that. So the whole material world, we have a huge garbage pile, with different combination of these three modes. So when a devotee looks at their lives, our lives can be either garbage or it can be turned into the service of Krishna. Now, we all have anarthas. Anarthas means what we don't need, but we think we need. So when we can't get out of it immediately. Like Srila Prabhupada says, that Krishna consciousness movement means 24 hours Krishna consciousness. We are supposed to bring eating, sleeping, mating, defending, as Prabhupada says, to nil. Which means that we are not dependent. That is the idea. But can we get there immediately? No. Because we have anartha, we think it is needed. At the same time, it does not mean that, okay, we don't need it, but we are somehow or the other entangled in it, but we can free ourselves from that entanglement. How? Not by multiplying the garbage. Now, okay, now we have this material body. We have this material body because of our previous conceptions of misutilizing the material energy. Therefore, we have a body. This is an engagement. Now let's not further engage ourselves. We're already engaged, but the beauty is, if we treat it as Krishna's energy, we can get purified and get out of that entanglement. So this is what we are supposed to, this is what we are expected to attempt. And what is the first step in that attempt? The first verse of the Nectar of Instruction. We chant the holy names. Okay, what do we do? What is it? Rupa Goswami says, control the urges of speech, control the urges of the mind, control the urges of the body. So these are the three things that we need to control. In fact, it speaks about tolerating actually. Because tolerating is something that we can do. Just like now we have extreme humidity. We are tolerating it. So, and in fact, we should know that sometimes people come up with solutions, right? Especially modern yogis and scientists, and they try to come up with various solutions to the complexities of material nature. They actually try to provide material solutions. That's what they do. Even the so-called yogis, and they try to provide solutions to material problems. I mean material solutions, including the scientists. But actually the Krishna, who is the creator of this material world, nobody knows better than him how to provide solutions. There cannot be a greater solution provider than Krishna as far as material nature is concerned. But what is the solution that Krishna provides? Just tolerate. Tam titikshava bharata. That's it. Now the solution provider says there is no solution. Just tolerate. That's it. So therefore the scientists nor the yogis, nobody can provide a solution to the complexities of material nature, because Krishna says this will come. Like the summer and winter season, there's no solution. You just have to tolerate. So the urges of the urges to speak, the urges of the mind, the urges of the body will be there. We have to tolerate it. What do we tolerate it? Tolerate the urge to engage in sense gratification. At the same time, the beauty of Krishna consciousness is that there is a way by which you can also control these things, not just tolerate. Come to the stage of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, nil. The first stage is toleration, but we also need to come to the stage of, like how the Goswamis, Nidra, Hara, Vihara, Kadi, Vijito. They have conquered. Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj. We have Bhagavatam class, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Finish the class, including the comments. So if I were to give a class for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, first of all, Rasmayanityan will get a little bit annoyed after 9 a.m. And as it goes to 9:30, 10, 11, then the audience itself will start getting upset. I will also wonder, what is this? I've been asked to speak for 4 hours. How is it possible? So like that. So because we have not come to the stage of, like Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, they are beyond the urges of prasadam and sleep and nothing. They don't get tired. Rather they feel enlivened. So we are not on that stage. So first of all, we have to tolerate. Okay, please tolerate. 8 o'clock we are feeling hungry. Please tolerate till 9 o'clock at least. Prasadam is there after that. Like that. So there are different urges which will come. So we are given some toleration. Tolerate for some time. Oh, like how they say the material world is a string of problems. And the problem starts when the clock strikes for Mangalarati. From that time onwards, the problem will start for the whole day. And as they say, for some, the striking of the clock itself is the problem. But we have to tolerate. Okay, we don't like it, the clock striking, but we have to tolerate. Get up, take bath. So like that. So initially we have to tolerate, but when we engage our speaking power in the service of Krishna, when we engage our minds in the service of Krishna, when we engage our body in the service of Krishna, then slowly from toleration we go to the stage of conquering over the senses. So, and this may appear a difficult task. It is. But the Sankirtan movement, the process of Krishna consciousness that will be given, is unlimitedly more powerful than the difficulties we are encountering. Therefore, we need to have Shraddha. Shraddha is the most important component in our practice of devotional service. And where do we get that Shraddha from? From the sadhus. In fact, the exalted personalities, they are even beyond Shraddha. They don't need to have some faith. They have experience. We need to have faith. Of course, the final stage of faith is experience. But the point is that we get that faith from the great devotees, from the pure devotees who attain love for God, and everybody else in between. So therefore, this sadhu sangha is very, very important, because we need to be constantly reinforced with faith, and that faith has to gradually grow higher and higher and higher. And the Bhagavatam is full of histories of reinforcing faith. For example, Kunti Devi, the Pandavas, we may think, whoa, what kind of life did the Pandavas have? Constant misery. Sometimes people are, in India, they don't easily give the name Draupadi to some girl, because they don't want their daughter to go through this. They don't give Sita. These kind of things they don't give. I mean, it's a fact. Of course, they do give, but there is a considerable portion of people, considerable proportion of the population who consider it risky to give names like Draupadi or Sita and things like that. But why are these stories there in the histories? Why are they there in the Bhagavatam? So Sanatana Goswami explains that these Krishna puts his great devotees, especially the Pandavas he mentions. Why does he put them through that? To magnify their greatness, to magnify their surrender, so that the whole world can see, look at that. We are nowhere near those conditions. If they could do that, we could also do that. Of course, we could say they are pure devotees, they could do that. But they don't have to do that, in the sense that why did Krishna even put them into those conditions? For us, to show that even the extremes, Prahlad Maharaj, even in the extreme conditions, it is still possible to be well situated in devotional service. So we see from the example of the Pandavas that all the other great devotees, that it's possible for us to come to that stage of being ahaituki and apratihata. Apratihata means uninterrupted. Ahaituki means it is not that, okay, I'll listen to Bhagavatam class now because there's prasadam after that. Otherwise I will not get. It's not like that. So ahaituki means we are performing it because we have to perform it. And eventually we perform it simply out of spontaneity. So this entanglement that we have with material nature can be overcome. And however great it may appear, like for example, it's not an ordinary thing. The level of entanglement that we are in, as we progress, we can see. We didn't even know some anarthas that we had. And even if we are able to tolerate the urges of the senses, what about puja, pratishtha and labha? They're even more difficult to overcome. That is also they are deeply entrenched, because in the material world, the subtle is always stronger than the gross. So these are subtle anarthas. These anarthas of the subtle body, puja, pratishtha, labha, so even more stronger. So we have to overcome a huge obstacle course. But the beauty is, the strength of the Krishna consciousness movement is very strong. And what is that strength? What is that strength? Like Prabhupada says, that what does it mean that when we have to surrender to the Lord? Surrender to the Lord means surrender to the pure devotee. And who is that pure devotee? Who is that Mahajan for ISKCON? His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So if we tightly hold on to his lotus feet, not by hook or crook, but actually surrendering, as he is explaining in his books, so then this process becomes Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. It's definitely possible. It's not like some, Akasha Pushpa, a flower in the sky. There's no such thing as a flower in the sky. So if you think there is a flower in the sky, it is called misconception. But Krishna consciousness is not like that. We may wonder, is it all possible that we can be freed, that we can sit in Bhagavatam and not worry about hunger and thirst and all these sleep? Is it possible? We may wonder, but the great devotees have shown that to us. that it is possible. Srila Prabhupada himself in his own life, he went to America when he was 70. Most people retire at that time. By 70 you have so many difficulties, so many you become invalid by that time. But Prabhupada started his Krishna consciousness movement when he was 70, embarked on a very, very difficult voyage. And we see that he actually demonstrated it. Prabhupada was so transcendental that even though he had palaces in Europe, they actually literally built, castles. They bought castles for him, fantastic rooms. But what did he do in 1977? He went and lived in Bhubaneswar in a thatched hut. Prabhupada said, for me everything is the same. He actually lived the philosophy. So we could see that for a pure devotee, they see everything as Krishna's energy. They don't see this is better, this is bad, this is lesser. Of course, from the materialistic point of view, Prabhupada said, we need to have these wonderful guest houses so people can come. As far as we are concerned, we can live under a tree. So for a pure devotee, there is nothing relative. For him, everything is absolute. Everything is Krishna's energy. But for the materialistic people, it's not like that. So they have the anartha, they need it. They need the anartha of a luxury room. Okay, that's okay, we can purify it. So give them a room, nice room. So like that. So the point is that if we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, then it is definitely possible. Shelter of Prabhupada means, first of all, shelter of Prabhupada means shelter of his books. Because there are two forms of Prabhupada. The physical form, which during his manifest presence, you had his physical form. And this is his ecstasy form. And in spiritual, there is no difference between the physical form and the form of ecstasy. These Bhaktivedanta purports are Prabhupada's form of ecstasy. In fact, it is said how when Krishna apparently left Vrindavan, Prabhupada explains he was present in his bhava form. Is that bhava form some vague imaginary thing? No, it's a very tangible, it's a form. This is called a bhava form, bhava expansion. So like that, this Bhagavatam, the purports are a form of Prabhupada. They are this bhava form. That's why he said they are my personal ecstasies. So even this day as we sit here, we can personally associate with Prabhupada through the Bhaktivedanta purports. So surrendering unto the pure devotee means surrendering to his instructions as given in his books. Now, one more point that I wanted to make is that what we are doing is very, very unique. It has no comparison. Pure bhakti has no comparison to anything else. It has no comparison even with bhakti. Like, other forms of bhakti. So, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan explains that's like in the Himalayas. You have a lot of mountains. They're all mountains. But bhakti is like a golden mountain. A golden mountain is very different than the other mountains. Especially women can understand the value of a golden mountain better than the men. So you cannot compare it. There's no comparison between an ordinary mountain and a golden mountain. Although all of them may be situated in the same mountain range. So India is a land of piety. So you will find a lot of devotees of Krishna. But they don't have this conception of pure devotional service. So we are not Krishna Bhaktas, in the general sense of the term. We are practitioners of pure bhakti. That's a very, very distinct thing. Because pure bhakti does something which bhakti cannot do, which is ajita becomes jita. The unconquerable becomes conquered. So what we have been given is something very, very extraordinary, extremely rare. That is why it is said that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavadanyaya. That which is rare, okay, sometimes something may be very rare. But to magnify to understand the mercy of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, first of all it is very rare. Even great sages and great saintly personalities cannot get it easily. On top of that, he has given it to people who don't even deserve, who are unqualified. In fact, the qualification of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, is that you are most fallen. If you are most fallen, you get His mercy first. So there cannot be, that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, there cannot be, there has not been and there cannot be anyone greater in magnitude than the compassion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. And for us, that whole thing has been brought to us by Srila Prabhupada. So as here Janmashtami Prabhu is sitting on my left, and he has been doing a lot of, he has been doing tremendous efforts to bring us to this point that Prabhupada is present with us. He is ever going to be present with the international members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and we should take advantage of his presence. He is trying to make us realize the presence of Prabhupada. Of course, Prabhupada is never alone. So Prabhupada means Prabhupada and his followers, all those who seriously follow him. So Prabhupada means Prabhupada and his followers. Similarly, like Krishna and his associates. So he has given us this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But he is the founder Acharya. So he is not somebody who left in 1977 and he's gone. Only his physical form has disappeared. But his Vani form, his Bhava form is there with us. And we need to take full advantage of that Vani form. We are not interested in practicing just bhakti. We are interested in following what the pure devotee has given us, which is pure devotional service. That focus we should remain. Otherwise, we are not anymore the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada did not come to create a society where everybody practices bhakti. He came to create a society which practices pure bhakti. Therefore, he writes in the Bhagavad Gita, in the preface, he clearly mentions that for all the efforts that he has put in, even if one person becomes a pure devotee, the whole effort would be a success. And as he would say, we don't want many twinkling stars, we want one moon. So we should remember this. This is the mandate of our founder Acharya. So we should also aim for that mandate, that we should attain prema, which is the goal of pure devotional service. And we should also try to inculcate that. As His Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj mentioned in his class on Saturday, sometimes we may think that we need to become qualified to preach. But as he mentioned very correctly from Prabhupada's purport, by preaching you become qualified. So it's a simultaneous activity that as Prabhupada defines the Saraswatas, he says we, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, are called Saraswatas. Saraswatas means two things. One is to practice and preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around the whole world. Two, to defeat all opposing elements. So this preaching is an intrinsic character of a Rupanuga, especially a Saraswata Rupanuga, the follower of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So if we keep these things in order, then we'll never be influenced by the modes of material nature. It's possible. It's very difficult. I mean, it's like Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. Only by His mercy we can overcome. It's impossible. We are so small, and the complexity of this material world with the three modes, extremely complex. It's like, as Prabhupada gives the example of a spider's web. If an insect gets trapped in a web, the more it struggles, the more it gets entangled. But the child of the spider can move around easily on the web. So Krishna is energy eaters. So let us behave like Krishna's children. Then we can move around the web of Maya. But if we don't behave like that, behave like insects, then the more we struggle, as Prabhupada explains, the more we try to lord it over material nature, the more we get entangled in its complexity. That's the exact expression he says. The more we try to lord it over material nature, the more we get entangled in its complexity. So the solution is given by Krishna, and it has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, is to take up to the process of pure devotional service, which will always be a success. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Pure devotional service can never be, there's no chance in pure devotional service. It will succeed. Okay, so I think I'll stop here if there are any comments or questions. Beautiful.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you. One thing that occurs to me in terms of faith, of course, sadhu sangha is essential. But another thing that sometimes Prabhupada would use taste and faith interchangeably. So, like there's something that's, I don't know if many people are aware of this, but Prabhupada, he gave a lecture in Ahmedabad, I think it's in 72. It's not Bhagavad Gita, just a general lecture. And he described how the leader has many servants, and the responsibility of the servants is to please the leader. So similarly, as devotees, our responsibility is to please Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, then we're pleased. So there's this reciprocation that gives us so much faith when we see, wow, this is real. Krishna is a real person, and this service that I'm rendering to him is something he appreciates. So it gives so much inspiration and faith that this is the direction I need to go in. One other point that I wanted to make, does that make sense?
Yes, Lord.
One other point, there's a really unusual purport. It's 4.28.48 Bhagavatam. And in this purport, Prabhupada describes how when the Acharya comes, he brings order out of disorder. But when he leaves, to a certain extent, disorder returns. We saw that, after Prabhupada left. It was crazy for like about 19 years. And then, but the responsibility of the sincere followers or the pure disciples is to bring order back. And we see that with the senior gurus, like the Guru Maharaj, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Radhanath Swami, Bhakti True Swami, so many others. They did everything they could to bring back the order, but this is also something we should be meditating on. To bring the order, bring it back to the standard that Srila Prabhupada set for all of us. He said, dear Krishna Maharaj did research before the Bhaktivedanta database was released to the public, and he went through all these letters that Srila Prabhupada sent to the GBCs. And this was just when I was becoming a temple president in Denver, and somehow I got the information. I just started using a computer, but Prabhupada, practically every single message, he said, your most important responsibility is to make sure that every devotee in all of your temples attends the full morning program. Like amazing. And we see it slid. It slid quite a bit from that. I mean, when I joined in 77, it was like amazing, how strong our movement was. I was in the New York temple. I was a Sankirtan devotee. And the Sankirtan leader, he had kind of like a guard at the temple door. And none of the Sankirtan devotees could leave during the japa period unless they had a really good excuse. But it was so amazing, the Shakti that the individual devotees had and the movement as a whole had. It was just incredible. So anyway, those are some points that occurred to me in the class.
Thank you. Thank you for those valuable points. Okay. So if there are no further comments or questions, then we can end here. Thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.